Hello everyone. Welcome to another use case of the week session. Hi Bruce, how are you?
I'm doing good, Trey, and yourself?
Good, good. It's good to have you on the stream today. So this is the last episode or session of this use case of the week series, our first ever webinar series that we've conducted at this scale. And I'm just so happy to see the kind of response we've had over the last 5 weeks. And I'm hoping that momentum continues today as well.
I was gonna say, don't say it ain't so. I hope it's not the last one.
Last for now, for now. So we're hoping that we can revive this series, but all of that depends on the kind of insights and ideas we get from our users in the community. So if you guys have enjoyed these sessions and you want to see more of this, definitely reach out to us, interact with us, and there'll be much more for you.
I'm looking. I hope we get more feedback from the community of things that they want to see. Let's say specific scenarios, not just use cases, but let's say specific integrations that
Hmm.
they know exist because they've seen it in the knowledge base, but they actually want to see it configured to work together, right? Like we discussed Zapier
Absolutely.
last week. If someone says, "Hey, I want to see how Zapier is done because I own a Zapier account," I look forward to that too.
Absolutely. And not just stuff that's integrated, but even things that you would like to see integrated or you want to just experiment with us. That'll be interesting for us to test out as well. So I urge everyone to reach out to us through the support channel on the community and let's make this a regular series. That's the aim.
I like that idea. I like that idea.
So I'll get started now without wasting any more time because we have we're actually to add to your point, we are going to be covering Zapier today. So for those of you who are Zapier users, you've got some familiar stuff to look forward to, and for those of you who aren't, of course, I'm going to give alternatives throughout the session. So
Guys, I didn't even know that, and it's funny that you said that because I had no clue that we were going to go over Zapier today. But it kind of makes sense. It makes sense. Freebird says that they want more, more, more. Let us know, please, what is more that you want, and as well as
absolutely.
the content form or the feedback form. Fill that out so that way the management team can see what else you guys want to see more of. Right. So Pocket Video says, I saw in another group today, someone asking about content fries and next week. I love that idea. It is hard to find repurposing platforms. One of my favorite ones is repurpose.io. If there's a way that you could take social media content to repurpose it, okay. If there's a way that but that's kind of hard to do unless you added a specific link in there. I don't know how that would work. If you made it where it could just shoot out individual pieces of media, and let's say it was, to reduce the cost for a software company, you pay a monthly fee, and then you have like 10 different pieces of let's say 10-second, 20-second videos. I could see how content fries could be helpful for that. It's different because we're used to generating the personalized content. But I could see how that would definitely be like, okay, the content won't necessarily be hosted by NextWeave, it would be hosted by Content Fries, and then NextWeave would provide a layer of personalization. I'm interested how that would work out, but I love that idea. Those are hard to come by, but very, very helpful for sure.
Yeah, so whatever your ideas might be, I can't guarantee that it'll all be possible and executable, but this is the way we learn, right? So if you share your ideas with us, we can start experimenting, you can experiment with us, and who knows what's going to come of it. And that's the beauty of the community and the beauty of the product. So I look forward to more suggestions like this.
I like that. I
So
like.
I'm going to get started now because we were running short of time now. But yeah, Bruce is going to help me monitor the chat. So if there's any questions along the way, definitely let me know and we can take that up as they come.
Bring the comments, guys. Bring the comments. Hey, Junior, welcome for joining us.
Great. So For those of you who've been sort of watching us regularly, you kind of understand the theme of these sessions. We're picking up slightly advanced use cases. But don't worry if you're new to the platform because we already have a repository of videos as well as documents that can help you get started. So at the beginning of each session, I introduce you to this sort of a presentation that is a step-by-step breakdown of what we're going to cover today. And I'm going to share this with everyone who's registered at the end of the session as well. So even this contains a lot of helpful links for you to help you get started and eventually build up to creating these advanced use cases. So keeping that in mind, today I'm going to show you actually a combination of two things. Firstly, I'm going to show you how within the Nextweave editor, I'm going to introduce you to an advanced widget available for videos. So I'm actually going to show you how to create lead generating forms inside your videos. So we're going to be steering a little away from the personalization feature of Nextweave and actually focusing a little bit more on the interactive aspect of it. So I'm going to show you how to create a video form. And then I'm going to show you how to connect this form to Zapier using a webhook. So actually Zapier is just one example. You could use any other automation platform like Pabbly, Integrately, or Connexit, or any of the other platforms that we're integrated with. Or if you have access, if you're getting a webhook URL from another platform, you'll know how to connect that to your Nextweave video after you watch this session. So our workflow for today is basically going to it's going to create this video form, and I'm going to show you how to use webhooks to collect data from this form. And then, of course, you can use your automation platforms like Zapier to perform actions after it. So I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible today. A couple of advanced features, but don't worry, we're only going to go through 2 or 3 steps. So let's get started. So in today's session, the first thing I'm going to go over is how to add the form widget, how to add and customize that inside your video. Then I'm going to show you the Google Sheet that I've created, where I'm going to be adding the data, like collecting the data from my form and then importing it into the Google Sheet. I'm going to show you how to connect your webhook to your video. And finally, we're going to connect all the dots inside Zapier to create an automated workflow. So all of this can happen without your intervention. So first step is let's head over to the Nextweave platform and take a look at how you can add a form to your video. So we don't have the time today to actually go over the basics of creating a Nextweave video. A lot of you may have already had experience with that. For those of you who haven't, don't worry because we have ready-made tutorial videos for you to get started with all of that. I've already gone ahead and created one Nextweave video. The use case of this video is basically imagine a newsletter request video that we've created. So the idea is that a video like this can be embedded inside your website or your landing pages or an event page, for example. So it's not necessarily personalized. I'll just quickly take you through this video. But as you can see, it's a video with moving elements. We've got information about what we want to preview through this video. And at the end of this, I'm going to show you how to add this kind of form. Okay, so let's get started here. Now I'm inside the editor. I'm just going to remove this component. I'm inside the editor. Now on the right-hand panel, I have my components. So if you scroll down to the advanced components, you can see a form widget here. So to add that to your Nextweave video, first thing I've done is I've just sort of moved to the particular time frame where I want to add my video. This is just a good measure. You don't have to necessarily do that. But I've just scrolled to the 10th or 11th second, which is where I want this particular form to appear. And I'm going to click on the form widget to add it here. Now, this form widget is available to anyone. It's not available on the free plan for Nextweave. So if you've subscribed or if you're a paid user of Nextweave, then you should be able to see this form widget. In case you aren't able to see this widget at your end, definitely reach out, and you are a paid user of Nextweave, definitely reach out to us through our support chat and we'll take a look at why that might be the case. But as long as for most of you, you should be able to access this under your advanced components. So as soon as I add this component, a couple of things happen. The first thing is that I can see the properties towards the right. And then below the video, I have a component manager where this form widget has gotten added and I can edit the start and end time from here as well. So I'm going to keep this at about 9 seconds approximately. So I've measured this out before, which is why I know that I want it to be from 9 to 13 seconds. But you might have to tinker around a little bit if this is the first time you're adding a component like this. Now let's move over to actually customizing this widget. So you can see the properties open up towards the right. The first two include the size and the position. So these are pretty self-explanatory. You have the width and the height and the position with respect to the top and the left corner of your, the top and the left corner edges of your video canvas. But instead of adjusting them from the properties panel, I'm just going to resize and reposition this directly on the canvas. I find that a little easier to do. And now let's move on to the actual customization. So the first thing is the form heading. Now, in my case, as I mentioned, I haven't created a personalized video. That being said, I have to have. Now, Nexiv does not permit me to create a video without at least one variable. So I had to create a variable, but this is just a blank variable. I haven't used it anywhere in my video. And the reason for me not creating a personalized video is because I'm actually going to be collecting this data from my audience. So I can't possibly personalize it for them yet. So that's why we've got this form at the moment, which is going to be my lead generating form. Now, under form heading, I'm going to change the template heading from please enter your name to sign up for our newsletter. And you can make changes to the font family, size, etc. All of these, again, if you've used Nextweave, if you've created either an image or a video on Nextweave, these are fairly sort of understandable at this stage. The next thing we have is the form fields. Now, because these are lead generating forms, there are only 3 fields that you can add to this form for now. This is name, phone number, and email. And out of these, email as a field necessarily has to be there. So under the form fields property, I can choose to enable or disable name or phone number. The form will definitely have the email field. It can't do without it. So for now, because this is a newsletter, the phone number isn't as relevant to me. So I'm just going to hide that. You see that my form has automatically adjusted to include only 2 fields, the name and the email address. Similarly, I'm just going to change the font style just to make sure that everything is consistent. And then we have the form card. Under form card, I can take care of the background color. So I'm going to actually change this to a light purple just to stick to the theme of our color scheme in our video. Something like this. I'm actually going to go back and do that quickly for the fonts as well under the form heading. Let me copy this hex code. And under the form, sorry, not the form field, under the button as well. Now the button settings are very similar to the form heading settings. We're just going to be able to change the label and the font family, size, weight, color, etc. You must be wondering what exactly happens after I hit submit. So I'm going to explain that to you in just a second. I'll just take a moment to update the background. So now that everything is aligned and looks the way I want it to, I'm just going to click Save Template so that all our changes are saved. Now you must be wondering what happens after my viewer clicks on the Submit button. Well, this data gets captured by Nextweave. So that's why I've created this workflow, which I'm going to demonstrate today, to extract that data from Nextweave on an automatic basis without any intervention, without you having to go and manually download CSVs. I've created a workflow where you can connect a webhook to this form, and anytime anyone fills up this form, it will automatically go ahead and update that exact data in this particular Google Sheet. So nothing particularly happens after the user hits submit. It's just that their data is collected into the NextWeave application, into your NextWeave platform. And we're going to set up a way for you to extract it on an automated basis. Now, the final property setting here for this form is the interaction tool. Now, if any of you have configured buttons or interactive elements on your videos, you're probably already familiar with this. For those of you who haven't, basically the interaction tool determines the behavior of the video till your viewer interacts with this component. So what I mean by that is this video is playing and then this form appears on the screen. Now, till the time it takes for me to fill up this form, what happens to the video? That's what's determined by this interaction tool property. So there are two options here. One is pause. So what pause does is it'll basically pause the video for whatever time you set under the duration setting over here. So say we set it at 5 seconds. What that will do is after this newsletter sign up form appears on the screen, it'll pause the video for a period of 5 seconds. In that 5 seconds, as a viewer, I can choose whether or not I want to interact with it. So I can decide I want to update my name and email ID, or I may decide that no, I don't really want to give my information or sign up for this right now. So I can ignore that. 5 seconds later, or this duration later, the video will resume playing from wherever it left off. So it'll just change, go ahead to the next frame, and continue playing. The checkpoint setting, however, halts the video till the time that your viewer interacts with this component, which means that if your viewer at this stage decided that they did not want to fill up the form, that's the end of the journey when it comes to the video for them. So for my example, I am going to set this interaction tool at checkpoint because this sign up form is basically featuring at the very end of my video anyway. And that's the culmination of my video. That's the idea, right? I need them to sign up for my newsletter. So I'm going to leave that at checkpoint. You can experiment with either of these options and we can try it in our document. So now that my form is entirely configured, my video is done. Let's take a quick preview at this video just to see if everything's working as we expect it to. So I've muted the volume, which is why you might not be able to hear it, just so that you can hear my voice instead. So perfect, this is what we've got and it's working as we expected. That's great. So now let's go ahead and take a look at this. We need to set up this workflow. So I'm just going to give it a second to save. Now, in the meantime, I mentioned that you're going to have to create a webhook URL in order to feed into this workflow, right? So in order to create that webhook URL, I'm going to be doing this workflow on Zapier. You could be using any other automation platform or honestly any other platform that generates this webhook URL that you want to connect to NextWeave and extract data from. So this is just one example, but you can experiment with this on your own as well. So I'm going to create a Zap here. For those of you who attended last week's session and saw a similar workflow, although a little complicated workflow in Pabbly, you know that the process is kind of the same. In any automation platform, you will have to create a webhook URL step. So let's give it a second for that to just sort of take place. Sorry about that. I think my internet. Perfect. So now we've got this Zap. I'm just going to rename this. And now we need to set up our first trigger. So our first trigger here whatever automation platform you're using, just search for webhooks as a keyword and you'll see webhooks by so and so platform. So in our case, that's webhooks by Zapier. And the event we're going to set this to is catch hook. Okay, it's that simple. Just a couple of steps. Click on continue. In the case of Zapier, the setup trigger is not relevant to us, at least right now. So we can just click on continue. And then we've got our test trigger. I'm sorry about that. Let me just restart this because there seems to be a slight issue with Zapier. Okay, I'm not sure why Zapier isn't working. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes and then come back to that. In case that doesn't work, I'm going to show you the exact same workflow on Fably. So I'm sorry about the confusion there, but I guess sometimes that happens with technology. So let's get back to our video for a minute there, and we'll go back to the automation step in a little bit of time. So here we've got our video. Now, if we want to publish this video or share it, what we also need is a thumbnail for this video. So in my image templates, I've also gone ahead and created this basic thumbnail. Again, it's not personalized because I am going to be collecting this data in my video. So I've gone ahead and created this basic thumbnail for my video as well. Now, again, if you've been watching this series so far or have seen our Getting Started playlist of videos, then you know that anytime you need to share a NextWeave experience, that is a video, image, or GIF outside of the platform, you need to create a campaign. So for those of you who aren't familiar, campaign is basically a process by which you can create codes or links for your NextWeave templates in order to share them externally. So I'm going to navigate to the campaign section, and here just click on create a new campaign. I apologize for that. Just give me one moment, please.
Hey guys, in the meantime, also quick question. Does anyone else have any of the other the connection? All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. So like I was saying earlier, if you have any connection programs or platforms besides Zapier, like we're covering Zapier this week and we did Paddly last week. If you have ConnectZit, there was one by a company called Company Hub where they did a CRM platform and they connected automation sequences. If you have any of those, we'd like to hear. In the meantime, Freebird uses ConnectZit. I prefer ConnectZit too, just for the team dynamic, which I talked about last week. So if you need to collaborate on something with a client and for security issues, you don't want to share your credentials, I'm partial to ConnectZit that way. The UI is fast and nice, and you could do multiple actions in the same step. That's why I prefer ConnectZit more so than, let's say, other platforms. Freebird Morgan, if that's something that you want to see, please include that in the feedback form so we can let Next Week management know that we'd like to move forward. And if there's a specific connection or pathway that you'd like us to map out on ConnectZit, again, let us know. Zapier normally doesn't have any issues, so I'm surprised that we're having that today. They're usually the ones that have the most robust options for actions. I mean, everyone has heard of it. They just don't necessarily know what Zapier is. But I'm kind of surprised that Zapier even couldn't find some of the zaps today. So sorry about that, guys. In the meantime, let's see what else. Even though today is the last day, I'll try to put in a word as long as you guys can give us like feedback in the chat or on the feedback form about what other platforms that you want to see. Anything would be helpful in terms of feedback, so that way Shreya and myself can go to bat for you guys. Gerald Castle says, use both Pabbly and ConnectZit. Okay, so then it definitely makes sense going with ConnectZit. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. In that case, we should probably schedule a ConnectZit for next week or whatever we can get an approval for. I agree with you on ConnectZit. That just makes sense. Let's see. Gerald says, your internet speed is very slow. Audio of text has been terrible. Hoping the recording is better. Otherwise, this webinar is no good. Even mine too. I'm hardwired in. That's strange. I know Shreya was having a little bit of issues, and she's on the other side of the world compared to me. I'm in California. You know, she's over in her neck of the woods. Integrately, yes, thank you, Junior. Integrately, that's the other one I was thinking of. So Integrately came from a company called Company Hub, where they did a CRM, and you would do actions and triggers based on the context that you have in your CRM. Integrately took it a step forward and say, okay, well, you have context in your CRM. Let's do more actions with those contexts. I kind of like the direction where they were coming from, but because they didn't come from the standard, because they didn't come from the connection world like Zapier, they're a little bit behind, but I like their UI too. Gerald Castle says, no, your audio is excellent. Perfect, I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, Shreya.
Hi, sorry about that. There seems to be some connection issue at my end.
That's right.
The issue with Zapier is persisting. I'm not sure why that's happening, so I'm going to switch over to Pabbly today, unfortunately. But the slide breakdown that I've made for everyone is covering Zapier, so you're going to get an idea of how to use it with both platforms today. So that's kind of lucky.
Perfect.
So let me jump back into the workflow. I'm sorry about the interruption, but yeah, hopefully we can now proceed to the end of the stream.
You got it. Shreya, just FYI, we did get some requests for ConnectZit, if we could do that in a week or two, or whenever we can get an approval for ConnectZit walkthrough as well.
Yeah, sure. We can take that up. We're already integrated with ConnectZit, so maybe the next use case that we pick up, we can try to build that out with ConnectZit and demo that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, hopefully. Okay, I'll let you take over.
Perfect. Okay. So like I was saying earlier, that anyone want to share a video, an image, or just outside of the NextSuite platform, we have to do it through a campaign. So here I've navigated to the campaign section, and I'm just going to click on create new campaign. That opens up my campaign configuration page. So configuration is pretty straightforward. You set a campaign name. Let's call this webhook demo. And then you can set your campaign type to Now, in this case, I've set it to video because, of course, my aim is to share a next week video. And now you can select the video template. So I'm going to choose the one that I just added my form to, and the thumbnail as well, industry insights. And now you'll see this option that says add webhook URL. So we've got to go ahead and generate this webhook URL. So ideally, I would be doing this in Zapier, but as you all saw, there seems to be some issue with the webhook URL generation. So I've moved over to Pabbly. The process is really pretty much the same in Zapier. On the Zapier platform, we clicked on Create as App, and here we're clicking on Create Workflow. Set a name for your workflow, and then you can start setting up the application. So the first thing we need to set up is the trigger. In this case, I'm going to search for webhook. So this is going to choose the application as webhook by Pabbly. And immediately you have a webhook URL that's generated, right? So we just need to copy this URL, go back to the NextWeek campaign, and paste that here. Okay, it's honestly that simple. Click on Save and Proceed. And the campaign connection is done. Now we need to activate this campaign. And basically, to test out this workflow, I'm going to have to take the activated launched version of this video and actually fill in some details just to make sure that the workflow is working the way I would like it to. So I'm going to stick to the bulk campaign type or style of activating my campaign. If you're curious to learn about the other activation methods, you can take a look at our help documents. Have also included links for this in the breakdown step-by-step presentation that I'll be sharing with all of you. So in this bulk link campaign method, I'm just going to download the template required. So I get a CSV with whatever variables I've used in my chat. I'm not sure if you can see that yet, but don't worry, I'll show that to you in a moment. So what I'm doing now is basically it's generating a template for me. And that template contains the data that I can upload to NextWeave in order to personalize this video. Now, in the case of this particular template, I don't really have any data that I want to use. So I'm just going to put in a test link just to generate some test data. Let me reshare my entire screen so that you can see that. So you see, this is the CSV template that's generated. And I'm not going to bother with adding like an entire list of data because as I mentioned earlier, this is a lead generation sort of template that I'm creating. So I just want one test link just to make sure that we're getting the right value inside Pabbly or Zapier or whatever we're using. So just going to put one test data here. And now I'm going to go back to the NextWeek platform and upload this sheet back to NextWeek. So you see there's only one row added and I've generated one simple sample test link. I'm going to open that in a new tab for you to see. So here I have my NextWeek video. Now you see under Pabbly Connect, as soon as I copy this webhook URL, it's saying that it's waiting for a webhook response. This is exactly the behavior that you see on Zapier as well. So I'm going to play my video and just navigate to the form section and fill out a test entry. I'm going to enter my name. to my email address and submit. The video continues, it's finished playing. Now back in Pabbly, this webhook response is going to get captured. So you can see interactions name and interactions email have captured the data from my form. Okay. Now, why these labels are important is because in the next step in this workflow, I can go ahead and use these labels to create a flow that will be dependent on the data collected from my NextWeave video form. So in this case, I'm going to stick to a simple next step, which is just connecting it to a Google Sheet. So in my second application, I'm searching for Google Sheets. And I'm going to set the activation, I'm going to set the event to update row. And now I'm just going to connect it to the Google account that has access to this sheet. And once that's done, I can select the spreadsheet that I have access to from the dropdown. So now this is labeled video form webhook demo. And you can see the two columns mapped here, name and email, right? So back in Pabbly, I'm just going to select that and sheet one. And of course, you see that the columns that are listed in that sheet are automatically listed below. So now it's up to me to basically map these columns to the data that is being extracted from the form in the previous step. So I'm going to click on the drop down against name and just map that to the name coming from my video form. And similarly, email and map that to the email coming from my video form. And then let's click on save and send test request. So two things have happened. I've received the response there, and back in my Google Sheet, this data has automatically gotten updated. So now this workflow, once it's saved and it's live, that is, you switch this to on, this is just for test. But if I embed this on my website, anyone who goes ahead and updates this video, the data will automatically get captured inside this Google Sheet. I don't have to have any manual intervention in that process anymore. So that's how you can use webhooks to create flows with NextWeave. Now we've taken a very simple example day because I was introducing you to a lot of new functions. So for the sake of keeping it sort of simple, I thought this would be the best way to demonstrate the webhook. But the beauty of using something like a Pabbly or a Connexit or a Zapier is that you have access to hundreds, if not thousands, of applications. So Google Sheets is just one example. You could connect this directly to your CRM. You could even create a workflow where one of our stages now includes an email step. So anytime any viewer of mine of this video hits submit, I could actually connect this to my email sending platform or Gmail or any other email sending platform that you have access to and shoot off a personalized message based on the information captured. And I can also embed NextWeave personalized media inside these emails. So really, you can get as creative as you possibly want with workflows like this. And I hope that today's session, although broken up into a lot of subparts because of my internet connection today, and I apologize for that again. I hope that you kind of get the gist of what is possible by connecting NextWeave. So last time we took a look at how you can use NextWeave as an action rather than a trigger. But today we've reversed the flow, and using webhooks, we can actually use your NextWeave video as the first step in a complex automated workflow that you can build using Zapier, Pabbly, Connexit, and thousands of applications that you might have access to. So I really hope you enjoyed today's session. Because this is the last session, I'm going to be sharing a feedback link with you all. Please let me know how today's session was, as well as any ideas that you might have for different applications that you want to experiment with, more ideas for organizing these sort of use case of the week sessions in the future as well. And once again, please forgive me for my failing internet today. I hope that that didn't put too much of a damper on our final session and that this still was as useful as the previous sessions have been. So I'm going to be sharing the feedback link now, and then we can go ahead and open the floor for questions. I'm happy to give a recap if that's required. If there were any questions because of the breakdown in the workflow. So yeah, I'm going to head back into the chat and see if there's anything else we can address now. I've linked the comments there, so please let me know what you think.
Perfect. Gerald had said he uses Pabbly also, so I know he appreciated last week's and today's Pabbly walkthrough. Let's see what else. Freebird Martin, you could see that I vouch for you. Gerald, you could see that I vouch for you regarding Connexit. Does anyone use Integrately by any chance? And Gerald, yes, the recordings of the webinar, we have them on the YouTube channel. I'll put up the YouTube channel.
They will go live on the YouTube channel after today's session is over. The previous 5 sessions are live already, and they'll also be live on the event page till the 20th of October. But following 20th of October, they'll only be available on the YouTube channel, but they'll be there forever.
There you go. And if you're on your phones, go ahead and just take a screenshot so that way you have the URL saved, on in your galleries. Let's see what else. Guys, go ahead and fill that out. Fill the form out here so that way we know that you're interested on the Integrately walkthrough or Connexit walkthrough. And Shreya, do we want to try Zapier if we can verify what's going on with it in a week or two?
Yeah, we can do that. So actually, why don't you guys go ahead? If you have any questions, post them on the chat. I'll take them. Let me give Zapier just one last shot. If it works tonight,
Sure.
then I'll give you a quick demo.
Yeah,
because our setup is pretty much complete already.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, go ahead, keep posting your questions. I'm just going to take 2 minutes to see if I'm able to get it to run. And if not, then I'll reach out to them and see what might be the problem.
Okay, cool. Oh, sorry, I'm jumping off camera there. Sorry, guys, I'm using a new camera software called XSplit VCam. I don't mean to be veering off center. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see who else. Gerald, I think we covered that. I apologize. I just didn't put that up on the screen. Can you guys hear Shreya okay now too, by the way, now that she's back? Alrighty, in the meantime, while she's trying out Zapier, let's see what else. I think we've covered everybody in the chat. Freebird, I have XSplit, not started playing with it, but looking forward to it. They have a new UI update, and the new UI update, it's like a major rollout, also included auto zooming, which is why I'm constantly off center. And then I don't know why, it just picks up my table, but there's nothing here on the table. But I like the new version better than the last version. The UI looks nicer, and you have auto zoom, and it'll pan left and right automatically. They also made it for Macs too, so if you're a Mac user, just be aware of that. The zoom feature works on the Macs as well.
So Zapier isn't working. It's still showing me that error for generating the webhook URL. I'm not entirely sure why that's happening.
Sure.
But yeah, I've included like a short video demo to go with this in the pitch document, which is the slide breakdown that I'll be sending across tomorrow. So for those of you who are using Zapier, don't worry, we've got that sort of. I've tested it out, I've tried it, I've included screenshots and recordings to give you a demonstration of that, and I'll be sharing that with you tomorrow.
Perfect. And guys, we'll give you a heads up. We'll give you a heads up if we do another one for Zapier. I hope we do. I hope we do.
Of course, yeah. I'm actually really looking forward to because we've had a lot of participation in the last 6 weeks, 5 weeks, and including today's session. And we're hoping that this momentum keeps going and we actually get more ideas for use cases as well. We really want to do something new, something exciting, and I guess the best way for that is for us to just keep in touch in the community and keep exchanging ideas. And I hope we come up with more exciting use cases.
In that case, Robo Reply, thank you for another informative training. I appreciate you also for tuning in, Robo Reply. I think Robo had talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago about a mobile application. So I was thinking about it and I was like, Robo Reply, I'd like to get some feedback from any of you who would think of a mobile app. The only one that I could think of that I've played with that I kind of like that does a little bit of personalization would be Dub, right? But they specifically do messaging. So Robo Reply, play with that, do a trial, see if there's any features that you like from that we could give if we go down that route. Not saying we will, but if we do, give us some feedback on some personalization apps that you've used so we get an idea that we could go back to management and say, hey, if people had a NextWeave app, these are the features that they would like. Ursula Kuhn, thank you very much. I'll catch up with the videos. Awesome. The previous videos that we've gone through and walkthroughs that Trey has hosted in the past, they're all going to be on YouTube. So perfect. There you go. Robo Reply. I would love that route. You know what? We are what you make of it. So if you give us feedback as to what you'd be looking for with future adoptions of NextWeave, that's something that we could take back to management, but we need to hear it from you guys. Like, I can come up with ideas all day long, but it has no merit if I'm not an actual consumer or customer. So that actually has more value than me going to management. So that's what I'm saying. If you have some platforms, some apps that you've played with before in the past, and you say, I like this on this Android app, I like this on this iOS Apple app, cool, give it to us, add it to the feedback form, or onto the Facebook page, you know, send a message and say, hey, if you guys create an app, I would like this feature. Cool, management will see that. Freebird, is it possible to embed a video inside a MailerLite email? Let me pull up the knowledge base real quick.
So we do have like a rough integration with MailerLite. I believe that we do. But in general, a lot of email sending platforms don't permit you to embed videos directly inside the email body. It's also not recommended to do usually. What you can, however, do is embed a personalized image or a GIF, and you can make it look like a video in the sense that it has a play button and some text that says click here for video. You know, you can be innovative with and creative with the image like that. Make it a clickable image, and then that image can sort of take your recipient to a video player. That can be on your website. That can be the default landing page that NextWeave has. You can also curate a landing page that's personalized to them. So that's definitely possible, but you may not be able to embed a video directly inside an email.
MailerLite, keep in mind, if you attach videos or embed videos, they flag it, right? Or they may block it from being sent completely. So
Yeah.
to avoid you having your email or email campaigns blocked, like Sheree was saying, the best way to do it is with a personalized GIF. And then have like very basic animation on the GIF with a play button in it. So when someone plays it, it'll take them to their personalized video. That way your video or your personalized media, which let's say is a personalized video, doesn't get blocked by MailerLite or any other suitable alternative. That's probably the best way to work around that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Gerald,
Thank
thank
you.
you for executing these webinars, hoping the YouTube video has acceptable audio. And you know what? Hey, we'll come back and we'll do Zapier when Zapier's up and running.
Absolutely. And if you feel like the replay doesn't have acceptable audio, flag that to us, please. I'd be happy to sort of give you additional resources to everyone, all of our users, additional resources to just sort of circumvent these kind of technical issues that happen once in a while. So in case the audio is not acceptable and you still have questions, let me know and we'll take care of it.
Would you be open to doing Zapier once it's up and running again?
Yeah, we can take that. I'll just have to troubleshoot it a bit. I'm not really certain what's happening because it was
Sure.
working for me until an hour ago. So I'm
All
not
right.
really sure what's going on, but I guess that happens with technology. That's always a risk. So
Well, Zapier is probably one of the most complex platforms on the planet because of how many actions and how many integrations they work with. So
absolutely.
yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's going to be it for that'll be it for today. So apologies for Zapier on the audio, but don't worry about it. If when we can get it up and running, we'll think about doing another one, and then let us know about Integrately. I know some of you expressed about ConnectZit, so Shreya, let's see what management says about doing a ConnectZit walkthrough as well.
We already have the ConnectZit integration. So everything that we've covered so far, you should be able to replicate it on ConnectZit. But if you want to see something specific, definitely let us know and we'll take it up for sure.
Oh, there it is. I see it. I'm going to put it up on the screen for those people that do have it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm not up on the screen. I'm going to give you guys the link just in case. Here it is, ConnectZit. And for those of you who do have ConnectZit or you work with teams that help you create like automated workflows, or you work with your team to handle clients and let's say marketing campaigns, that's the ConnectZit knowledge base URL right there. Perfect. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. Like always, everyone keep social distancing in mind, wash your hands, and we'll see you guys all next time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Have a good one, guys. Take care.